Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Hey Teddy, have you noticed how little attention science and health issues get in the media?
Totally, Edgar, yet science information is very important.
Yeah, for sure. That's why the Health Journalists Network is here.
How can they help?
They are a group of journalists dedicated to advancing public understanding of healthcare issues through impactful reporting on health and science.
Oh, really?
Yes, they meet up every month with scientists and researchers, policymakers, and activists at the science media cafes. They then relay what they discuss to the public.
Does that benefit us?
Oh yes, very much so. This helps with health and science literacy for a healthy Ugandan society.
Okay. I love getting informed about science and health issues. Health information makes all the difference between life and death. I'll look them up and engage them.
That's great. They are based all over the country.
Oh, okay. That's interesting, and they should be making real impact.
They are empowering health communities through journalism. Journalists can save lives just like doctors.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
I suppose it's a good evening from Digitalk TV. We hope that everything has moved on as expected. My name is Noman Tumuhimbise. Around this time, 7 p.m. on every Monday, we are talking politics, governance, human rights, economics, depending on what is making news that very week. We stream live on our social media pages. That's the Alternative Uganda Facebook page and also Digitalk TV Facebook page, and on our YouTube channel, The Alternative Uganda. Our permanent panelists, as always, are retired Major Awich Pollar. He's with us. When you talk about, when you mention him, he's like Intade OB, and of course they have no OGs in Intade, so Intade OB things. We have OGs in Wiranyans. So he says there would be OGs in another school, surprisingly, but he'll mention why. Extreme left, he's not a leftist.
No, I'm a leftist actually.
Oh, on extreme left, we have a leftist.
Not extreme left.
Okay.
On the left. Extreme leftists are the people who claimed they were
taking my mandate. And if I may remind you of the words of Vianney Ngoma, taking my mandate. Anyhow, we have Mr. Joseph Ochieno. But to perhaps have a glimpse of what transpired last week up to today, off record, Honorable Awich was telling me today is the birthday of...
off record?
No, like literally. Which is okay. It's on record. Before we came to the show, that's what I mean. It's a birthday of the big man.
Which big man?
He's there. You will see him. He will tell you he's there. And he even ensured that they put this. It's it's in. I think that's the badge for entire school, right?
That is the official birthday.
Yeah.
Official birthday.
Of 80,
the Queen of England used to have official birthday because she had an official birthday and another birthday.
81 years, right, Honorable Awich? We wish, of course, to congratulate the old man with the hat, but this time around his photo doesn't have a hat, for having made 81 years. It's not as easy. We have had people, it's hard to make 81, especially in Africa and other continents. But of course, I want to invite you to say just hello, and then also Mr. Ochieno to say hello. I will now come back and give you what we need to discuss today.
If I were to say hello without a birthday, will you give me
No, you have to say, you can mention, you can send the greetings. I don't know where the cake is, but I saw some people cut the cake on, was it yesterday, but one in Kololo. But maybe there could be another official one. You can say hello.
Okay, I will to our viewers, greetings and greetings to
the leftist.
Colleague,
Yeah, I'm a leftist, yes.
Joseph and yourself and the entire team here. About the birthday, it's a point to me and to others, I guess, because tracing the childhood of President Museveni is interesting, especially for those of us who went to Ntare. I can assure you, the writings in the school magazine in Senior 5, if you read the article which Museveni wrote, at that time without a search engine like Google, you think it's much better than many graduates from Makerere now. So that shows you how sharp and good he has been, and that is how he has ended up here. Because I was an editor of the school magazine, so I took interest in his writings when he was young. Senior 5 in the Ntare school, because I edited the same magazine. We keep keeping copies every year. So before I took on the task of writing that magazine in our year, I did literature review, and I saw what Museveni wrote. Oh my God, that guy was right from the beginning. So it is good that he celebrates his birthday, and I thank God for his health, and I thank him for also keeping healthy. He does a lot of exercises. He eats well. He doesn't eat the kind of food we rush for in the Javas, in these other eating places. He takes millet porridge and cassava, and that's why he is.
In a second, and of course this does not mean that we have entered into a discussion. You see, you mentioned two key things, and I highlight, you mentioned that by the time the gentleman was in high school at Ntare, in your view, when you look at his article, he reasoned more than most of the graduates today. But then the education that you perhaps want to mention equate to his back day article, it's the type of education you have brought on board, you and your colleague. So isn't it a contradiction? Or rather, we should thank Mr. Ocheno for the UPC's education policy that brought up such a brilliant gentleman vis-a-vis the ones that you brought on board.
You know, I'm talking it in context to his age, meaning I'm saying his character, his nature, not the nature. If that was the
Comrade Awich.
If it was about education, then every student in his class should have been thinking like him, but they were not thinking the same.
But you're saying,
because they were exposed to the same education. If the baseline was education, how comes the whole class was not thinking like him? How comes his thinking was exceptional? So it is about his nature, and that's why I was talking it in terms of his age, and nature. But if it was education, then the whole class would have been thinking like him. But the whole class was not thinking like him.
I like your defense. Let's cross to Mr.
It's a terrible legal argument.
Yes,
you know, when these days you find P7 kids don't know how to write their names, and so you want to single out people. You know how I normally boast about the excellence of my primary education, the excellence of my secondary education. And normally I tied to all my other colleagues. In fact, I did an obituary piece for the oldest Miriam who died last month, you know, at 105. And in that, I took the excellence of the quality of the guys that having crossed Nagongora boys, we went to Miriam and I met this cream of boys from across the Republic, because every school, wherever it was across the country, you're going to get excellence thanks to UPC. No, Museveni got it very easy. Museveni got it very easy from our educational system. He's actually created a shambolic education system. In fact, the other day, I was talking to my 10-year-old beautiful daughter. You know, as you know, thankfully my daughter does very well at 10, and beyond the private educations here, you go into public spaces, and you know, Comrade Rich and I go into many of the spaces talking to young people, and some of the quality of education is terrible. But no, I'm delighted to be here on this day. Mr. Museveni, while he's celebrating 81 and 80, he should make sure that they stop, you know, getting money stolen under his bed. But that money should go to make sure that we invest in healthcare, so that our people down there don't die from things worth 2,000-3,000 Uganda shillings. You know, so if that could be the mark of his birthday, that look, it's good to live long. You know, as a gift to Ugandans, it is not a gift; it's still our money. He should say from today on, you know, I want to make sure that while I take porridge and bujera, you know, let every other average Ugandan child also get porridge.
It's one of the issues, one of the statements I wanted to highlight, that does that mean that, you know, him taking bushera,
he was boasting.
It's literally not because he can't afford what, but now the concern is, what about the rest? Do they
Yes,
even afford
yes.
the basic
Yes.
at 81? But anyhow, that's it was just a lighter springboard for our discussion. The purpose for which we are here is to discuss on how best the Mr. Honorable Awich Pollar's government has guaranteed people's safety. And this is kind of to dive into the 30 years yet to come. I think that's by 8th October where our constitution will be 30 years. So we haven't run away from the debate of our constitution and how it has lived the test of time. And in the extreme left, we expect Honorable Michael Mavike, by God's grace. Once we have him here, we'll have him say hello, and of course he joins the rest of the colleagues to debate this. And
we suspect he might be stuck in traffic.
Most likely.
And it's ended traffic down the road.
It's been raining and there's a lot of So congratulations to Honorable Awich. I understand last week you did submit your signatures, and your Secretary General was chest thumping himself for having had over 2 million signatures. What a big success. And of course that will not enable us, him, run away from asking him on whether or not he has submitted his signatures. But beginning from there, are those signatures even genuine, or you simply, which is possible for some people, you go to them and, are they genuine signatures? Or you're throwing a stone to people to shy away, that you already have your 2 million voters already?
They are very genuine, as always, genuine. Like I was saying, the genuine intellectual disposition that Museveni has, which is shown at this early age.
Thanks to education.
The congressman says education was good and therefore should have produced equal students. But it is on record here, he has said, for him to go to Mwiri, he was the best in his place. So if all the students were the best in your class, in those days they used to put in percentage. If you got to 35, why didn't the whole class get to 35? Because you would have been the same. No. No single student can be the same. Even if people are getting 4s, even out of the 4, there's somebody who got a 4 in maths, you would get 98, others got 96. But
actually got 98 in maths, actually.
So that means you are better than your fellow students in your own merit, not the education. Now, about the signature is a product of a holistic nature. Holistic nature in that this 5-year, what you call the Kisanja, this Kisanja, we have been so particular in executing our manifesto, and we kept evaluating it each and every other term, period. We had periodic review. There was a time we had achieved 60%, then we went to 70, then 80. We kept on. So this contributed to the success that we are having. 2, when we went for registration of party members, we came with a huge number, and you people doubted. Until President Museveni went for an audit in his village. He said, if you people tell me this is how it is, this is my village, this is my voting place, I want to see who you have registered. And he did one by one. Later on he came up and said, if what I saw in my village is around the 73,000 villages, then you people could be right. Therefore, the achievement in the manifesto, including peace, you know that famous thing in Luganda that two webakawa? Yes, people sleep. So the 2 million signatures is a holistic and a progressive and a structured way of a product that has come. It's not a one-off. The achievement in the manifesto, the peace therein, and also our constant explanation. You might have realized that over this year, I was so much involved in the media. My core mandate is the external affairs. But I think because of the discipline of NRA, whenever I come to you, you hold me. You say, don't go. Therefore, the continuous explanation that we have been having, including my little input has had an impact on the signature that you saw. So that is the problem. We even had more, we passed the legal limit.
Of 100 signatures per district and
yeah.
3 quarters.
We just needed 100 per signature. Some districts had 14,000. Others had, Bulisa had 8,000. So, 8,000 extra. So the members are there, the citizens are happy, and we're waiting for a day when they'll turn up. We really guess that with a simple study and opinion poll that we have done, we may have to win by 85%.
I wanted to ask you, I think that puts us back to a concern and or whether these were literally free signatures or you dished out some penny to some people and had their signatures put onto your forms.
Very, very free. All we did, because we have our structures, we just gave to the task to the structures, to the chair. Chair of a district, and chair said go to the sub-county, and the sub-county said give to chairman LC2, and then I mean NRM at parish level, then village. The structures did their work for free.
Okay.
For free.
I have this last question, and then I cross to Mr. Ocheno Joseph. It should be a Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, when, you know, I think yesterday when we were at in Kololo, and the theme, literally, it was to have the Boda Boda Festival. How does it make you feel having a country that celebrates, okay, not in by the faith, of course, but some time ago I used to have a rider that had a master's degree, and this gentleman would tell you, I looked for jobs, I couldn't get one, and he's having a master's degree. So are you proud of such an economy where you convene thousands and thousands of people in Kololo to, to have that exhibition of Boda Boda riders, whereas in China people are exhibiting surface and space missiles. For us, we are exhibiting Boda Bodas of 3 tires, 1 tire.
Moreover imported.
Now,
Yeah.
Moreover imported.
first of all, the example you gave about a master's degree, I wouldn't take it.
Oh.
The lawyer that I am, how do I know you're not creating a scenario?
I will get you that
Do
gentleman.
you know that in a law, if they accuse a man of a criminal matter and the wife goes to court and said, my lord, my husband has died, do you know what the court will say? Prove death. Prove death.
I will.
You said we are sorry, prove death.
I will get
because there are people who have faked, including a congressman who faked death.
No,
and
in
the man
Congress we
resurfaced-
don't fake
the man
things.
resurfaced to be a member of parliament because he was running away from death.
Wait a second, Honorable Awich. Do you want, in your heart of hearts, you want to dispute the fact that there are people in this country that have bachelor's and even master's
Shocking.
degrees that are riding Boda Bodas, honestly speaking?
I doubt that. What I'm doubting is that you met somebody.
No.
You
Up
can't.
now he
You
rides-
could be
up now he-
creating
no.
a
Up
scenario,
now he rides
and
me.
that scenario can be misleading to the
No.
audience.
Up now
Very, very
I
misleading
will
to the
invite
audience.
him here next Monday when you are here and you have an
Then I
off-record
will
discussion.
believe you. Then I
At
will
whose
believe
at
you.
whose expense?
Then
No,
I will
it's going to
believe
be
you.
at my own expense, so
Then I
that I
will
can
believe
prove
you.
to him beyond reasonable
But
doubt.
anyway,
But proceed
let
about
me
the Boda Boda
proceed.
Expo.
The Boda Boda Expo is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. First of all, fast forward about your China example again. Congressman is old enough to know. Did you remember, Joseph, there was a time when the entire China was riding bicycle? You remember?
Predominantly, yes.
China was riding bicycle when the economy had not taken over.
down.
You can Google.
Partly that,
They
partly
were
culture. but
riding.
anyway.
No, how comes the culture disappeared now?
Partly it was the culture of the time. I'm
No,
simply saying,
it's just
Allow him-
because
allow him submit
the economy
kindly,
then was not managing, okay? The economy wasn't managing. China, 80% of the people ride,
They're riding
not
bicycles.
even motorcycle, bicycle,
Bicycles.
the entire China.
The economy was down.
Until they worked hard to transform the economy. They have just started driving recently. Maybe not even more than, in fact, by the time NRM was coming to power in 86, Chinese were still riding bicycle. Not long ago. Therefore,
When should we expect Ugandans to get off the border
the
borders?
the economic status determines, but the economy itself, riding a bicycle does not mean that people can't afford cars.
Vehicles.
You can know that even now, especially when it has rained, the whole street is covered with cars. But border has its own merits and demerits, and that is why people take it. Taking on border doesn't mean the economy has collapsed. It doesn't mean the economy is dead. It doesn't mean people are poor. It's just an alternative. And even me, I often use border. For example, if I'm late for a studio, I park my car, jump on a border, because I have to be on time in a studio. The disciplinary me, I have to come early. So if you see me on a border, I've parked a Land Cruiser, it's not because I can't afford. So border is an alternative mode of transport, which has picked up because of the nature of our actually many cars. It is the many cars that forces border to be there, because you have to move. I do it a lot. Therefore, even if it was that the economy was not, I can assure you China has just left bicycle. China has just left bicycle, and they progress. So, if we are the challenge that is dictating our appetite for using a border, then we should work hard to ensure that we transform that situation the way China did. The way China did.
I think, Honorable, what the viewers, in my view, would perhaps be interested in hearing from you is, of course, not that we are condemning and or rather taking borders to be less important. The issue is about the energetic force of young people literally failing to get what to do and resort onto riding borders. Which borders? I will also mention that the border back in the day, it was around 2.5 or so million. As we speak, as of today, a border is around 4.8 to 5 point. That's a Bajaj from India. And then one wonders, if that is the path we have considered to take, what about we discuss the taxes that are imposed onto the border so that, yeah, we know there are no jobs, but also the borders are relatively affordable. Not to say that they are less important, because I know each one of us has used them in emergencies, but none of us would be happy to find that majority of young people are purely preoccupied by border riding. I think that's the fair discussion would perhaps also have your mind about.
Now, if we are to talk about lack of
employment,
maybe white collar job, lack of white collar job, to be more exact. Why I'm saying that? Because sometimes we don't even know that when you are calculating employment, somebody in agriculture is also employed. Somebody in agriculture, somebody look after his cows in Yaushozi or wherever in Lira. So we don't do that, and yet that is another form of employment. So for proper diction, for proper choice of words, the lack of white collar jobs. Of course, not all of us can be in white collar job, but at the same time, if we needed border, it is the young people who should do it. Do we think that border should be left to the old? Are we cursing because it is young people? We need the old people to do it. Now, about job employment, that is a standalone topic. A lot of efforts are being made to create jobs. But it's not possible to get for everybody, never. The countries like America, the rate of unemployment is so high. Unemployment, you think America has covered how many? You think everybody is employed in USA?
Not everybody, but
it keeps coming up in every electoral challenge. Every electoral challenge you hear the Democrats saying we're going to create this job. Why? Because they want to address the needs and the cries of the unemployed. We cannot run away from the fact that we have not made enough employment. And that is why we are talking of industrialization for those who want office work or factory work. But for those who want agricultural work, interventions are there in terms of PDM to give you to produce a mioga to do that. But unfortunately, people seem not to see that as an employment, and those whose outlook are that way end up in employment like border. And we said, fine, unless you're saying we remove all the young people, we want the old people, 70 and above, to ride the motorcycle, and then you'll again turn around and say our old people are riding. So who should ride?
Incidentally, they say that they are the most careful people on the road. But anyhow, let's cross to Mr. Joseph Ochino. First of all, we saw, the last time we were here, you discouraged me to mention to mention a faction, that UPC is one. Let us take it the way you advised that we manage it. But I saw some colleague from UPC, I think last week on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, who submitted signatures, who returned the forms. And then one wants to ask, it's on record that you picked forms for which you were expected to fill and submit. How far have you gone, sir?
Yeah, I'll respond to that, but I must take on this.
Yeah, I wanted
I must take on this extraordinary, difficult denial by Comrade Awich about the extremes of unemployment in Uganda, and for Comrade Awich to honestly suggest that unless you provide evidence that there are no people with master's degrees in the streets of Kampala riding borders.
No, the one you met.
I know you talk. The law is trying to fight.
What I'm trying to insinuate is we should desist from creating imaginary scenario which end up misleading the audience.
So I think
if you are saying you met, you must have met.
I didn't meet.
Okay,
he
so
rides
then
me often. I didn't just meet him. He rides me often.
So this is the business of trust between the two of you. So Norman, it's a very serious suggestion that Comrade Awich actually doesn't trust that what you're saying is true. And Comrade Awich is saying that yes, whereas there are many extremely unfortunate Ugandan citizens holding master's degrees walking the streets of Kampala, whom I meet many, including today, possibly not on border. But that the one you met did not hold a master's degree, perhaps you did not actually meet a border person, so you created a scenario to argue with him. I was going to get shocked, Comrade Awich, there are many Ugandans with master's degrees walking the streets of Kampala. There are many Ugandans with master's degrees, including those around me, who don't have jobs. There are many Ugandans with master's degrees who are struggling to find a way to stay in Kampala. There are many Ugandans with master's degrees, including one I found at a petrol station the other day. I hope you don't suggest, as you suggest to Comrade Norman, who are sort of willing to take any job if sort of pays sort of their rent and sort of their transport, and they're willing to start from there. And it's extraordinarily unacceptable. So since you've calmed me down a bit, I'll move on. It's unacceptable. You know, unemployment, and it's amazing, unemployment by definition also includes cases in which you find people trained, skills, okay, it might be now underemployment, but doing inappropriate jobs. That is massively in Uganda. Now, the NRA guys want to fudge this definition. And Comrade Awich attempted to talk about the fact that an average lucky Acholi boy for whom the Balalo has spared 10 acres of land, who now begins and is possibly a graduate in education and now begins to plant cassava. Because they planted cassava and another acre of nuts, they're involved in agriculture, so they're not unemployed. No, I am the economist here. No, they're unemployed.
And he's a lawyer here.
They're unemployed.
He will ask you to prove beyond reasonable doubt.
Because I'm a socialist, I'm a leftist. These are global definitions that actually, if Ugandans were to go to the thing, and you people in journalism were to go as fourth estate to critique this, the messy figures that NRA throws 22%, 18% unemployment, it would be thrown absolutely top of the wind. And in fact, what I've just said, I hope there are some economics professors out there watching, and please give them this. The definition of unemployment in Uganda is completely fudged. I know Matia Kasaija, in an average London School of Economics class of possibly an undergrad third year class, he would struggle. I've just given some thought, he would struggle. That said, anyway, we leave that at that.
No, I didn't
This
want to-
morning,
I didn't
I
want to-
gave, if you don't mind,
Okay.
I gave a lift to a lady as I was rushing for a meeting somewhere from near where I lived. Turns out this lady has got a degree, a master's degree, and a procurement qualification. I think the certification. I think she called it something else. This lady is massively underemployed. Graduated 13 years ago, and this is for the record. She tells me that she had to move from her parents' home halfway the journey, partly because of the distance where she's walking. I'm trying to avoid the area, to mention the areas, and in part because she's now earning because she does not want to stay at home, and she's hoping that it's easy to get a job from one space to another. Those are the daily messages in the streets of Kampala. And for a political organization that claims to be leftist, a political organization that claims to be revolutionary, a political organization that claims to have been far left from UPC, should be talking at employment as a core issue. And the question of unemployment should be something they should run away from. I give a commitment that a future UPC government would have an aspiration of full employment. An aspiration of full employment. That is what leftist organizations talk about, which was boasting earlier somewhere, meeting another leftist ambassador somewhere, will not mention, things like that. Those of us to the left, we are driven by values of uplifting those up. It's usually about employment, it's usually about education, it's about skills, it's about salaries, wages, how much we're able to boost their wages and their incomes, and also then investments on those who are most needy. As far as the signatures are concerned, I did not say last week that there are no factions in UPC. I have been saying for the last 5 years that there are in fact two factions in UPC. There is an Akena faction and a former Olara Walubiri faction. All I have said again and again and again, I do not belong to factions in UPC.
UPC is one.
And I'm too big for factions in UPC because I represent the mainstream of UPC. That's all I said. And I've been very consistent. And by the way, you raised it very important because Comrade Richard and I have learned our ways of managing, although sometimes it lets me down, like it was letting me down a short while ago. We don't defend for defending's sake. One of the reasons I've been trying to do that is many young UPC members, particularly those who support my position, I tell them that don't go down there and begin to deny, turn to Norman that, oh, no faction, whatever. Don't tell lies. Put things in contexts. So, of course, we have those. And indeed, you're right that 3 different individuals picked nomination forms for UPC, including myself. I declared that. Yes, my signatory process is generally ongoing. The position I took is that I will not return the signatures unless I'm president of Uganda People's Congress, because I will not stand as an independent. I made that very clear. In fact, the week before after I took the nomination forms, I expected a ruling in court, and this is part of this guy's challenges with their judiciary, in that I would be having a ruling in which my leadership would be determined. And the event that it was determined, I would have the nomination forms and go through straight away as a party candidate and get signatures. That did not happen. I want to announce that we now expect a ruling. I hope there's a ruling tomorrow, the 16th, and I hope it will be declared that it will be found that I am declared leader of the party, in which case then I'll formally submit the nomination forms to the Electoral Commission. But as I said, unless we resolve the leadership of the party, I'll not stand as an independent, because it's also about making jokes and making fun. And I'm telling young Ugandans, including the many people who went to pick nomination forms, fantastic things you did it. But please, let's not do these things because about power, me, myself, and I. Let's do it really for values and political organizations that we genuinely believe. But I must take one final thing with Comrade Awich. This business of millions of signatures. These guys are playing with the mindset of Ugandans, and you're not seeing it. He's smiling good. Commander Awich, you're a gentleman. In normal democracies, and including serious electoral commissions, they shouldn't really be accepting that, because obviously you're wasting time with the electoral commission.
Envious that you could not gather some.
No.
So these colleagues bring
it's
over
PR.
2 million.
No. If we are building institutions, it's common sense. If you're building institutions, they say 100 signatures. Why should you take 1,000?
To prove that they're on ground.
What proof? You've been around for the last 40 years. You need to prove to us that you can turn Tare, and create 10 Tares around the world, around the country. That you can create jobs. And by the way, talk about education thing, Comrade Awich. Under UPC administration, you finish a degree in procurement, you're going to get a job in procurement. I'm actually tired of meeting young graduates, some of them serving tea, and they tell you that they studied IT and there's no job. I'm tired of meeting graduates who are teachers and they're then selling drugs, including some of these funny, controversial things at pharmacies, Comrade Awich, employment. So, no.
But they will say, in fact, Honorable Awich and his colleagues will say that the population by then, vis-a-vis what we have now, and they will tell you that we were very few people, and therefore there were so many opportunities vis-a-vis now.
I told them the economist here.
And he's a lawyer here.
Lawyers are usually not bad with mathematics, but the mathematics I saw during their primaries concern me. But look, the population has grown fourfold.
Yeah.
Economies grow as they boast, 6% per annum. Museveni boasted that the economy has grown more than 10 times, something along those lines. It's common sense. Really, at the rate at which they are telling us lies that the economy has grown, we should be having more schools, more hospitals, more jobs, and Comrade Awich is right, that we should really not be riding by pajajas of India, We should be swimming in the cars made from Namamvi. And Comrade Awich knows it's a terrible thing. And Comrade Awich, also you're right, that when I was growing up actually in primary school, we used to have Chinese magazines, but they used to be very, very fantastic. I need to be going to Beijing one of these days. We used to have very nice magazines that used to share in schools, because China was really, really at peak in their PR, trying to sell their communist agenda and program. And in Uganda, of course, we knew we were leftist Chinese, were friends with us, with the UPC. We are still friends, although these guys have grabbed the central friendship with the Communist Party. So these guys had bicycles, and if I may say so, part of the culture is, if you go to Gulu in Uganda, I think your camera lady is fantastic. In Gulu, more women ride motorbikes and bicycles and cycle, and even partly in Lira.
Even in Busoga and Eastern, some parts of...
No, there's a bit I'm going. There's an economic element where there are more bicycles being ridden, say, in Nagongera than, say, in Buganda, partly because of economics. But here I'm talking about cultural. You'll find more actually women comfortable riding motorbikes and bicycles than possibly Banyoro or Japadolas. That's the cultural thing I was trying to refer to. There's also true that there's economics, but to the fact that China, a communist economy, that should really be driven by less envy, like the capitalist NRA guys will tell us, that capitalism encourages, speedy progress and motivating people to work. China did an excellent job. And if China did that when NRA guys came, you can see how long these guys have been around too long, and they've failed to turn our economy from a bicycle economy to basically a Pajaj exporting economy. But now we are still a Pajaj transportation economy. This morning, as I was going to conclude, I was going to Muyenga. And this is across the Kid Group house, a train, passenger train. The thing is going to say, this railway thing, but it's terrible. We've had a short deal from these guys.
You're laughing at our train.
Yeah?
Are you making fun of our train?
No, it's almost criminal. A train that rolls around somewhere in Nambole, and you can see the junk and you can't believe it. These guys have taken us back 40 years.
Okay. If I may ask now, maybe in a minute or so, so what do you make of the Boda Boda Festival now in summer? Is it so good for a certain sector to come and have an exhibition of what they do, their importance in our economy and the rest?
Do you know, at Nakao this morning, and it's official, a Boda Boda guy hit my car, plucked off my stuff, and proceeded, sped off with this poor lady as this passenger. I have had to leave Muyenga and then return to Wandega to my mechanic to sort it out. It's a shambolic thing. Now, interesting that those police officers were there and they saw it, but the police don't have the capacity, nor do they necessarily have the interest. The lawlessness that exists, by the Commodore Awich, this country, thank Mwiri, we gave you guys who got under my country and we prayed over it. Citizens of this country are absolutely on their own. God with us. Those of us who drive around, you see the number of people who drive and quite clearly they don't know the highway code. And you see how border borders drive as if it's those disco dances of those school days of ours. Tick, 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 tick. It's terrible. No, Kampala, the state in which it is no longer a capital, if it is to remain a capital city. That should be a border economy city for transportation. Kampala should be decongested. Border should be an alternative, not the priority transportation. Public transport, I told from Commodore Awich, is not the size of the roads. We need to invest, and I'm giving them my free education, free stuff as usual. We need to invest on public transport, that is trains. We need to invest in trams. We need to invest in public service buses. Some of the roads we need to give priority lanes. And then decongest by encouraging the posh Land Cruiser guys like Commodore Awich to move away from their Land Cruiser onto trains and onto buses. I told a major Kampala City conference 15 years ago, that was even before the Sebagala time, that this is a consideration we needed to make. But of course you realize that some of these guys don't have capacity to translate these things into action. This is serious stuff. It helps in the environment. It also helps the Kampala economy. But also helps, I was talking to a senior member of NRA the other day, by the way, which he agreed the day before yesterday, that actually part of the thing that we should also do, because this person has seen how Dar es Salaam and Lusaka are planning, Kampala would now be all the way to Nagalama, well planned and well expanded. But because there is insufficient planning, guess what? A neighbor of mine comes and builds a shoot thing of double story just behind me. None of us were consulted, none of us were contacted, and my friend was telling me of how somebody's washroom, earthen washroom overlooks their balcony in the city, in their posh corner for a land in which they now want to leave the place, sell off the place and move on. Okay. That is the mess in which you have in Kampala.
It's a heated debate, and as I speak, our other colleague has just come. He's about to join us. But before he joins us, I want to throw this to, there are two, we have 4 minutes, two, and then we go into a break. Would you feel, how would you feel if you had a relative, Honorable Awich, you have a relative, thankfully you aren't doing badly economically, but now I want you to,
He's doing very well.
No. But Mtare people are not as broke as Nagongera people,
I know.
and the Mwiri people like you. So you sell land or cows, take this relative to school, gets a bachelor's degree, and later alone, you just have to now struggle and get them a passport and go to Dubai, okay, to to Arab countries. How would it make you feel? Would you consider that as, oh, at least they are employed, or you'd, for some reason, have a different opinion?
You see, such a kind of employment, to judge happiness, should actually be judged from what you call the victim, not the person. The person who is sending may not be the best. I know for a fact, especially among Ontari OBs, I know for a fact that there are people who have even done medicine and refused to practice.
Refused?
There are those who have done law and not practicing. If I can withdraw the word refuse, but I said they are not practicing. So to judge that situation is best from the rights holder, the person holding the rights. Because some people hold their rights and choose to do otherwise. But if you may think about this thing of going to Arab world, I've explained to a few people that, you see, the idea of going around the world for a job is not a Ugandan thing. It's because there has developed a global imbalance of labor. If you went to Berlin now and sit in a bus from the airport, or a bus from one city, from Berlin city, and you're going to the suburb outside, like let's say Mukono. Berlin at the city center, you're going to Mukono. You realize that the bus you are boarded, the youngest is 65 years. The entire bus, the youngest person is 65. Meaning that some part of the country have old people and they lack manpower. Some part, like in Arab world, they lack manpower. Therefore, the world came up with a convention called Convention on Migrant Workers, because the world realized it is a UN convention, like a convention on the rights of the child or any other convention, because the world saw that there is imbalance of labor. And therefore, those who are willing should do it. I can assure you, Philippines alone export 11 million nurses. Or Mexico export 12 million people to America, to the extent that even Mexico acted a film that one day without Mexican, because Americans were being proud. They said, let us withdraw. So the issue of labor imbalance and somebody going, you can't judge from another person rather than the rights holder. Okay. The rights holder may be comfortable with it.
I'll stop you there for a second, and we head into a break, because time, of course, isn't our best ally, and we welcome our other colleague, and we shall begin from there. But as we come back, it's for not a take home. It's for to think through as we come back. We have I think the record is show we have 116.2 trillion as a debt, and maybe we should begin from there as we.
Begin from there, or for me to make my submission on this.
Oh,
to respond to
this.
Yeah,
when we come back, yeah, you will.
Sure.
Definitely. Let's come back in a second. Keep it big.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.